Hi, this is Christian Vance. I'm a producer in Berlin, in Germany, and I'm going to take you through a few tech tips here, and we're going to open up here with one on drum sample or drum loop selection, because in Ableton there are so many possibilities. There are windows and windows of opportunities in ways that you can break up your sample, rewrite your sample, resample your sample, splice your sample, slice your sample. It's an absolute smorgasbord in terms of creating drums. And the most important thing is you want to choose the right samples. You want to choose the right loops. And this is not so much a tech tip, more a tip generally when you're using found sounds. You want to use them for a particular reason. You want it to lead you, you want to lead it. Therefore, you have to think about what tools you're going to use and how you want to end up with a particular idea that you've got. And with drums, the most important thing is to begin with. I mean, you can get really complicated here, but the most important thing is to find a drum loop that has really defined drum sounds. And with what we're going to do with these drum samples and loops, we're going to chop them up in particular ways that require those sounds to be quite defined. Meaning, you can hear the kick drum, you can hear a hi-hat, you can hear a snare, you can hear a clap. You can go off in tangents and have different kinds of drums, of course. But finding those transient peaks to slice up a sample are really important in using Ableton in the ways that we're going to use it. So let's have a listen again and let's follow this. Let's make it a bit bigger. And we're going to listen to another drum loop over here. Now, both of those drum loops are really a spin or a variation on two types of popular drum samples that many producers use. The one starting with A is obviously a rendition of the Amen break, and the drum loop B over here, it's sort of, I've taken a found sample of a Bernard Purdie drum break and sort of rejigged it a little bit here. And basically, they're cool funk-oriented breaks. They're groove-based drum samples. They're not super straight, but they are obvious. They do have an innate groove that we've become conditioned to over the years, and they make really good sources to use to chop up for all sorts of types of electronic music and dance music. Drum and bass, jungle. You can use them as fantastic drum breaks in house. You can use them as really repetitive, interesting things in techno, experimental techno, broken beat kind of stuff that's happening. They're super useful. But the thing is in the beginning, you want to choose a drum sample or a drum loop that you can chop up and do some fun stuff with. I'm just going to give you a bit of an insight here into what you can do, and then in a few other tech tips, I'm going to show you how we do those things. So we just listened to this drum loop. And down here, I've copied it, but I've created some warp markers. And as you can see, I mean, this is going to be pretty obvious stuff to many of you, but you just need to go and find where that started. I mean, there you go. So I've had a look here. Yeah, that's where the wave is starting. So that's a good spot. And it's always good to blow it up. Always good to enlarge it and have a look exactly where you want that sort of beat to start. And the thing is about using these warp markers. You can change how your beat sounds. You can obviously use these and stretch it out and use the basic function of those warp markers. But there's some other things that you can do with those warp markers. And I've sliced it to a MIDI here, and you'll be able to hear this drum loop again. It's a little bit softer. And these correlating to those warp markers. And you can do some crazy stuff by doing that, by choosing the proper drum sample where you can hear all those individual parts. So that's just one example of a way you can reuse a very good quality drum sample or drum loop. And over here is another style of breaking things up or making things a little bit more random. And the thing I've got going on there is I've used both these two drum loops, drum loop A, the Amen break, and drum loop B over here. And I've used something called a follow action down here, which basically we can choose a start point, which also helps if we've got it marked out with a warp marker actually. And there's some really fun stuff just down in this corner that you can use to make things stop and start, or choose to go on at different points of the rhythm and different points of the beat. And in doing this, you open up so many doors to do things that are like beyond human drumming, beyond the sample. And pretty much, yeah, I mean, if you get the right sample to begin with, all of this stuff is just waiting for you to get creative with. And in my experience, it's really good at this point. If you've got a drum sample, go in and grab an EQ, get rid of any unwanted frequencies, notch out a few things. Don't boost too much. Try and keep, because you're using a found sound, and the interesting thing is, the most important thing is I should say, is to get that sample sounding sonically good to your ear and mathematically correct as you can, so that as you use it down the track, it's going to sit in your mix properly. It's always good to use these things in the beginning. I've already done all that on these drum loops, but once you've found your drum loop, once you've trawled the internet or dug through your record collection, that is something that I'd really, really recommend when choosing your samples. The other one is, don't choose a straight up rock drumming or techno beat loop sample where you've just got a kick and a hi-hat and maybe a clap on the 2 and the 4, because it's not going to give you much variation. Find some drum loops that have some variation that you're going to be able to use as a tool. You might be writing really minimal music, but you want to add your own touch. You want to add your own flavor. And by having really good quality source material, it's going to take you a long way with just that one sample.
Thanks everybody for watching, commenting, and indeed liking. We really do appreciate all the support we get here on our Sonic Academy YouTube channel. So if you found this video super useful, please, we'd love you to hit the subscribe button. We update the YouTube channel every week with new content. And if you want to watch some more relevant content, just click on the videos beside me.